experts come up with. The next one is irregular engagement of casual workers. When we asked the Auditor General this question, we were asking him to tell us how many casual workers were engaged, because this query does not bring that out. But having looked at your written response, you engaged 364 men and 489 women. That's about 850. I was a bit curious to find out why you needed to bring in 850 people as casual workers in the organization. Governor?
Do you want me to paraphrase or to
Yeah,
read?
paraphrase, because I see it's heading to 4.
Because you don't want to hire them permanently. It's going to be a cost on you when you hire them permanently. These are cleaners, sweepers in the environment, cleaners in the hospitals, the people who cut the bushes. It's a cost-effective way to...
The other option is outsourcing. The other option is outsourcing. I've seen counties that have outsourced cleaning, garbage, some of those functions.
In the rural areas?
Yes.
I think if you outsource, it will politically there'll be problems.
Yes, your problem is politics.
Yeah. I will be thrown out.
Yeah. So that then does not really address this problem. What was the cost? What was the total cost of the 850 plus?
Sorry, Chair, I'm informed that the team had done an assessment on outsourcing, and the cost was going to be double.
Was going to be?
Double what we spent.
So what was the total cost of this 850 annualized?
Why don't you answer? Why don't you respond?
I think you're a schedule that had all the names.
I'm told it's an estimate of 108.
108 million.
Yeah. Out of a total
it's an
wage
average
bill
of 8 million a month.
Yeah, out of a total wage bill of about 2.8 billion.
Sorry, the annual cost was about
108 million.
108. So average of 9 million a month.
Yes. Yes.
And so
9.
in line with the circulars, in line with the law, were they kept beyond the stipulated timelines?
No.
Auditor General?
No.
They had a short-term contract for 3 months.
So did they serve for more than 3 months?
The contracts are issued afresh every 3 months.
So Auditor General, you can confirm that they are bending the law, but not necessarily breaking it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so we can keep this in view. Staff ethnic diversity, again.
Yes, and the nature of employment auditor, can they still be paid with vouchers? Is it okay? According to you, because you raised it here. They're paying me with the vouchers because you raised it. So now is it okay? Is the query answered? Yeah, because we had requested the receipt, which they submitted, and some of the contracts, the personal details.
So when we direct that you keep it in view, it means that there's a likelihood of recurrence. So you need to inform us at the next audit cycle. Yeah. Of course, there'll be other things we'll be asking, whether there are budgets, whether there are approvals, whether the county Public Service Board was involved in the recruitment. Can you confirm that that was done, Governor? The budgets, the CPSB approvals?
Yes.
Okay, so auditor,
in the
please
budget and the public service bodies involved.
keep that in view, give us the assurance that the law was followed. Honorable members, there are some 2 or 3 projects that we want to get an update on. I think that the issue on staff ethnic diversity, we could take the written responses. We know the challenges that arise, but that is the law as it is. So again, it's a matter that we'll keep on our radar. We were concerned, Governor, that you have a lot of, you've got quite a number of stalled projects. So maybe this is where we'll see the relationship between this and the pending bills. Kirinyaga, the 3-story medical complex in Kirinyaga and the 3-story medical complex at Kimbimbi Sub-County Hospital, the contract sums are the same. In fact, it looks like a mirror image. It's the same BQ, same specification. Okay. Everything is similar, including the amounts that have been subcontracted. So, starting with Kirinyaga Sub-County Hospital. As we speak now, is this project complete as we speak, as we sit here?
None of them is complete. They're both ongoing.
What is the challenge if you look at Kirinyaga, where you have paid 75% of the contract sum?
There's no challenge, Chair.
The completion date was to be 28th of August 2023. The contract was extended from 29th to 29th November 2024. It is not complete, so obviously there's a problem.
There's no problem. The issue is just that we did not allocate resources, adequate resources to finish it at once. So we just decided to do it multi-year.
That is the problem. Because if you had a contract, you had dates, you have a scope, time, cost, specifications, and it is not met, obviously you know that there's a problem.
And Chair, maybe Governor, you can also address the question of the procurement itself, the direct procurement, and whether you supplied the auditor with
Did you do
evidence of
direct
negotiation
procurement?
with the supplier.
Oh, sorry. The chair, the contracts themselves were not direct. They were tendered for the hospital. It's the subcontracts that the contractor. Okay, the contractor is the one who sources. Maybe he can explain. He's the one responsible.
Is he the contractor?
He's the one responsible for finance, for the side of procurement.
Okay. Proceed. And you need to state your name for record purposes.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Karila Sotino. I'm the Chief Officer, Economic Planning, Budget and Procurement. Sorry? Yes.
Don't let, Kalonzo once said your name betrays you. So do not rely on names. Proceed.
Obliged, Chair. I'll submit. The procurement for the hospital was done through an internal process where we got the main contractor works tendered, and the subcontracts were still on provisional sums, so we needed to tender them separately. But pursuant to Section 103, Part D of the Procurement Act, the procuring entity sought to procure the items through direct procurement, having procured the works from a contractor. It determined that additional works can be procured through the same contractor. So these subcontract works only were procured through direct procurement, whereby we followed the law on the issuance of the tender document, the evaluation, and the negotiations were duly done.
What is that provision of the law that you claim to have followed?
We invoked 103 Part D of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act.
And what does it require of the entity?
It gives a justification on when procuring entities can use direct procurement, and Part D clearly says that a procuring entity having procured goods, equipment, technology, or services from a supplier or a contractor determines that additional supplies shall be procured from that contractor for reasons of reasonability of price and standardization and compatibility of the works. So that's what we invoked as a justification.
So you did direct procurement of a total of 137 million.
Yes, Chair.
The preamble to that, is that the regulation or that's a law? That's the act. 103D, is that regulation?
This is the act.
That's the act.
Yes, Chair.
What does it say as a first condition that would justify direct procurement?
The first justification is the goods and services and works are only available to one particular contractor.
The second one?
The second one is due to war, invasion, natural disaster, or there is urgent need.
The third one?
Works. The third one is through catastrophic events, which may lead the procuring entity to procure.
The fourth one?
The fourth one is that I've said, the one for having procured from one contractor, there's issues of standardization.
So the general thrust is that direct procurement is an exception rather than the norm, because it talks of catastrophes, it talks of things that are unforeseeable. In fact, I think there's a part which we haven't read that relates to specialization or expertise, or it cannot be found anywhere else. Yeah. So
Yes,
that's the general spirit of that provision.
yes.
Which of these IPBX telephony, there are about 100 solutions in the market. Water heating system, solar water heating system, there are about 100 in the market. CCTV, generator installation works. What was so specialized about this that you decide to directly procure 137 million worth of services?
Chair, having gotten lessons and experiences from the Kerugoya Level 5 hospital, whereby we tendered separately for the subcontracts, we actually, in between the process, had to terminate 2 subcontractors. So from the lessons and the challenges got from there, the procuring entity deemed it necessary.
Why did you have to terminate 2?
For non-performance and weak non-performance and
Because of weaknesses in your due diligence. For every procurement, isn't there a professional opinion that is rendered?
Yes, there is.
By the head of the procuring entity?
Yes, there is.
So those 2 that were cancelled, wasn't there professional opinion?
There was professional opinion.
So is the weakness with the service provider, or the weakness is your internal systems and processes? Your internal due diligence? Because you cannot tell me that because a service provider failed in some provision of contracts, that then that opens up Section 103 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. If it was some 5 million, 4 million here and there, perhaps you can understand, but this is 137 million. This is almost 50% of the contract value. The contract is valued at 288 million. Isn't it?
Yes, yes, Chair.
So if we are just being reasonable and not being clever, what is this exceptional circumstance that will lead you to directly procure 50% of the contract sum on things that you can find on River Road? It's not Tesla, which is only manufactured by Elon Musk. Please help me understand.
Okay, thank you, Chair. If I may submit, yes, there's also the factors that you have raised, but one of other justification that we are taking into consideration is with the size of procurement, the reasonability of prices and
Reasonability of prices compared to who?
Yes, so I was responding to the exact question. Among the other justifications that I've listed, that was one of it. The time taken to procure and the scope and the reasonability of prices that we'll get from the market vis-a-vis the invokement of direct procurement and negotiations.
Members, am I the one who's failing to understand
I
this?
think, Chair, you are right on Ms. Otieno. If you do not have a justification that is specified under the law itself, then it is not a justification. So you don't need to try. And that is why the Chair was trying to tell you to avoid trying to sound clever. And the second limb of that question was, if you're going direct procurement, you're supposed to demonstrate that you negotiated those prices. The Auditor General is saying you did not provide evidence of those negotiations. That is what raises all this suspicion as to the propriety of that method of procurement. Do you have evidence of the negotiation with that supplier to arrive at these amounts?
Yes, Senator, we, through the Chair, we do have the negotiation.
Kindly refers to them. And has the auditor seen those documents?
I will refer you to Annex 12.
Annex
12. And to be specific, Annex 12B.
Even as we look at Annex 12B, Auditor General, you're the one who raised this non-conformance. How do you address my concern that 137 million, close to half the contract sum, has been directly procured? And how does that relate to Section 103 that the officer has referred to?
In fact, Chair,
Is this
if
lawful?
you look at 103D, I don't know which one he was reading, but the 103D that I can see on this annexure makes more sense, where it talks about reasons of standardization or because of a need for compatibility with existing goods, equipment, technology, or services, taking into account the effectiveness of the original procurement. That would make more sense than what he read out, but maybe they need this document. We just need to see where the negotiation was.
Though, Senator, if you look at the items procured, a generator, in terms of compatibility, you cannot say that it is such a specialized thing that can be directly procured.
Compatibility to the already existing works that the main contractor has done. That's what it addresses.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stretch of that provision. You look at CCTV. There's nothing specialized about that. You can get a lot of solutions in the market. You look at hot water heating system. Nothing specialized there. Auditor General, I put the question to you. You are the one who raised this. Are you satisfied that the direct procurement arrangement was lawful? It is your duty to tell us whether the procurement was lawful and effective.
Chair, just before we leave that page, Mr. Otieno.
Yes, Senator.
I assume that the purpose of negotiation is to get best value for money, to reduce prices. Huh?
Yes, sure, Senator.
If you start off with a lower cost and end up negotiating a higher cost, what is that? What are we to make of that? Is that a negotiation for the benefit of the people of Kirinyaga? If the original cost is lower than what you negotiated? I'm referring you to page 4 of your negotiation report, which is Annex 12B. Okay. So that the governor, if you see the initial cost of the IPPB-X telephone and structured cabling, the amount that you started with was actually lower than the amount that you agreed on. You started at 19,139,000, then you negotiated upwards to 19,346. then you want us to believe that you sat there to negotiate a 1 shilling discount on CCTV. Surely. I'm reading my own things. Page 4 of that annexed.
Yeah, Governor, we are running short of time.
Chair, let me explain the negotiation on page 4 of the 5. The question is why the IPBX was negotiated up to 346 instead of 139. And I'm explaining in the courses of a tender negotiation, the contractor also has a benefit of raising items which could have been omitted in the main BQ. So you'll come and find that, yes, you are negotiating to go down, but the contractor will provide additional informations which by omissions were not included in the first BQ. And that is what contributes to the additional cost, like when you see from 19,139 to around 19,346. However, there were some gains negotiated because we downgraded, or we got to saving of generator from 29 almost to 20 million, because it includes the supply of generator and the construction of what is required to have that integrated to the main power system. So the negotiation was helpful to the county, because at the end of the day, we were able to do a significant reduction on the initial cost that was tendered.
What was the name of the service provider with whom you are negotiating?
It is the main contractor.
You are negotiating with them.
Sorry?
Who are you negotiating with?
We are negotiating with the main contractor, the contractor who was awarded the works initially.
Yeah. The reason why the chair is struggling is that your own minutes don't even tell you who is in the room. Because these are supposed to be minutes. That's the title of the document.
So what's the name of the contractor?
Is it Solitaire?
Yes,
And,
it's called Solitaire Construction.
You have also made a recommendation that the head of supply chain to make a professional opinion. Do you have that? The professional opinion? Because see, at the end of the day, if there's going to be anything fishy, then the head of supply chain, as being a member of a regulated profession, is the one who must carry the blame.
Yes, it is there.
Do we have it?
Yes, Chair, the minutes and the professional opinion are available, although the
Is the head of supply chain here?
Yes.
Where is the head of supply chain? What was your professional opinion?
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair, it is there after the negotiation. The team that was negotiating the evaluation team, I did the professional opinion. It is the file. I can provide it.
What was, in summary, what was your opinion as a professional?
In my opinion, from the negotiation after what we had negotiated the contractor, the county was able to at least have some savings from the initial cost that was the initial contract cost that was 137 to 128, and they had a saving of almost 10 million, Chair.
Now, members, I'm struggling with this concept, and I want Malcolm, I want you and the Auditor General to look at these provisions in law and assure me and this committee that this route was necessary and this route was lawful. On the surface of it, all the conditions in my experience that warrant direct procurement need to be extremely exceptional, very exceptional. Not generators and solar water heaters that are easily and readily available. And in fact, if you floated a tender, you'd even get more competitive prices. A solar water heater, if you go to Davis and Shatcliffe, they'll charge 2x. And if you go to some Asian businessmen in River Road, they'll charge X. So I do not see the specialization in this matter that ought to justify that approach. So legal, do a very, very quick analysis of this and give us an opinion that will help us form our recommendations to the House. Is that the same thing with Kimbimbi Sub-County Hospital?
Yes.
It's the same approach.
Yes.
So we will get advice from our legal department on that. Senator Maruma?
Yeah, maybe the only other thing that we need clarity on, it seems that during the time of audit, that report was not there. So maybe we need to get some form of mitigation. Why didn't you have that report? Because then you must have given it out after the audit cycle had ended. Because they say there was no evidence of negotiation with the supplier. So this evidence must have been brought later on from the look of things.
Yeah, so that speaks to Section 62 of the Public Audit Act. Yeah, so I think we'll look at that, and then the legal will also advise us so that when you're putting a report to the House next week, we can make the necessary recommendations, because these are big projects. In fact, ideally, these are the things we should have started off with, rather than counting the PVs and JVs that we did earlier. Kagai Ndaba dispensary at Kagai Ward. Again, it was at 67% completion level, but the auditor reports that this could be stalled. Governor, what's the status of Ndaba dispensary?
Page 13.
It does not have the procurement queries of the others, but where is it? We can take note of your written responses, but you can
Chair,
just emphasize.
Can I do it from on top of my head?
Yes.
It's one of the problematic projects in Kirinyaga. I found it stalled. We restarted it and it's stalled again. I think now we are in the, we just terminated a non-performing contractor. The problem from on top of my head, from where I see it, is that when you go out to bid, people undercut so that they can get the work. But when they go to work, they're not able to finish or to do the work according to the standard. So then they fall out. It has happened twice. So we've just terminated this time again.
I thought the law allows you to do variation where the need arises.
They give us a limit now?
There is it 25 or?
Oh, yes, they said the contractor, you're allowed to do up to, I think, maybe 15%, but this was a case of non-performance from what they say.
Now, Governor, when you are evaluating contractors, are they required to show evidence of past completion of projects? Is that part of the requirement?
Village, yes.
And so how does it happen that you get the same people who have problems over and over again?
Can you explain?
Like those ones now, if we looked at the people that you have terminated, will we find them doing jobs in other counties?
Yes.
How is that possible? You, as COG, should be able to share information on these contractors. If somebody has left a stalled project in Kirinyaga, why are they allowed to tender in Bungoma?
PPRE should ideally have a database which they put on the website for those who have been terminated, but I don't know whether they do it now.
Patrick, the Public Audit Act, I think the word debarment appears in it. The auditor can even make recommendations for debarment of service provider.
Yeah.
Isn't that in the act? Yeah, you look it up and see how we can, because once someone has been blacklisted in Kirinyaga, why should they go to the next county? For example, some of these revenue collection systems.
Yeah.
You find someone was blacklisted in Nairobi.
Yeah.
You recall Senator Dulo, we had problems with a service provider in Nairobi.
Yeah.
So we recommend that they be debarred, but then they move to the next county and they are continuing to offer the same services. So we need to have some consistency. So that being the case, what percentage is the project at, or it has not moved since you did determination?
Daba is at 67%. 67%.
67%.
Because this is 12 million. It's unlike the others that are 288 million.
It's a health center. It's a very small, well, not very small, but a small health center. The others are level 4 hospitals with 200 bed capacity.
Honorable members, any query on this?
Yes, Chair. This dispensary started in May 2021,
Which page?
and now that we are told that the procurement process is ongoing, and that there is need to expedite action so that this project is complete. We need an indication of when this project will be complete, and together with the others, Chair, because even for the Kimbimbi, the story is almost the same, that the management has taken various project implementation measures to duly expedite the completion of the Kirinyaga and Kimbimbi sub-county hospitals. We need to get an indication from the management now that we are at 85. Then when do you think you can complete these hospitals so that the people of Kirinyaga can get the value for money? Because from 2021 up to now, there's no value for money. We need to get an indication of when these projects will be complete.
The completion of those hospitals depend on the budget allocation. So if county assembly gives the final allocation this financial year that is sufficient, we'll finish it. If not, we will do what we can with the resources we're given and then finish it the other year. But we are hoping that we'll finish it in this 2020.
But Governor, you originate the budget for consideration by the assembly. Have you put this in the budget for consideration? Unless in Kirinyaga, it's the assembly that writes the budget.
And as the governor answers, for the issue of Ndaba, you've stated that the procurement, the process for these works is currently ongoing. But now, most importantly, is the remaining work has been reassessed and included in the 2024-25 fiscal year in the supplemental budget. We should be able to indicate that by end of year, this project should be complete.
I was responding to the Kimbimbi Kirinyaga, which are level 4 hospitals.
No, but when you talk of budget, you should say that we have made a proposal to have the budgets approved, because they cannot approve themselves. Someone has to initiate.
The budgets they are in the ADP, they are in the CFSP, and they are always appearing in the budget. But no matter the amounts that we put for various items in the budget, budgets change once they go to the county assembly. So if the county assembly leaves the money adequate to complete the project, it shall be completed, like we did the level 5. If they reduce it and in the negotiations we don't manage to increase the resources to completion, then we would have to finish it in the following year.
I think let's go to the law, because the practice we might get lost. What percentage is the assembly allowed legally to change, to alter? What percentage of the budget?
It's like 10%, isn't it? But it's 10. Legally it's 10.
And so, are you saying that there's a likelihood that they can
Yeah.
pull out things from one vote to the other?
This last budget,
Actually,
they must have done 50.
that fiddling must be within a vote, because they cannot fiddle from development to operation. Yeah, control of budget. I think when your colleague was here, we deliberated on this matter at length. And Governor, you sent a petition to the Senate on that matter, and it landed on my desk. But before we could address it, you had caved into the demands of the County Assembly. We must insist on the law. Now you are not seeking, unless you are seeking a third term in Kirinyaga. But we need to insist that we do things in accordance with the law. And I wish that your members of County Assembly would be here so that we can tell them, the same way we told them last time they should not be implementing projects. It's the same way we tell them that they cannot be altering budgets outside the limits spelled out by law. You can't move a budget item from development to operations. That is not there in the regulations. So that's why I'm really concerned when you're telling me that the budget depends on the County Assembly.
And Chair, it is really worrisome, given that we want to give universal health care to our people. And we have projects 85% complete. And that MCAs can be against the policy of and the agenda of implementing UHC or universal health care. There's an ambiguous statement here, Chair, that reads, the management has taken various project implementation measures to duly expedite the completion of these two hospitals. Maybe you need to know what type of measures are, because the way it is just ambiguous. So that if you can get them on record, we can then hold you to account the next time you come for another meeting. Otherwise, we need these hospitals to be complete, because then they're in line with the UHC agenda of the government.
For the remaining issues, they are quite significant. Maybe we should have started bottom up, should have started the last issues rather than the issues we dealt with at first. The Governor, the hospital management information system. Auditor General, could you tell us what was the problem here? That it has not been rolled out to all the hospitals it was supposed to be rolled out to. Is that my understanding of the problem?
Yes, Chair.
So it has been rolled out to the main hospital.
That's true.
But it was supposed to have been rolled out to how many?
To the main hospital and these other sub-counties.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Governor, what is the reason for that?
The reason is which is the same hospital you're talking about, Kimbimbi, Kirinyaga, and Sagana. All of them are at different stages of being upgraded to level 4 from very old facilities. And so the current old facilities don't have the infrastructure to support the digitization. So we are waiting for the new ones so that we can roll it out.
So we'll agree with
We had
the
assumed that we would have finished the hospital by now.
We will agree with the Auditor General that the value for money has not been achieved, but we'll take note of the mitigation, saying
System
that
is being used.
the facilities have not been made ready. Of course, there are delays there are delays in the other facilities, delays that in my view are avoidable, not unavoidable, avoidable delays. So this is a matter that we can keep in view so that when we are calling for implementation matrix, we can get an update from the Governor in 60 days on how far the matter has gone. Legal expenditure. Now here you are querying, what were you querying? Were you querying the amounts or just the fact that they're still outsourcing when the County Attorneys Act requires them to have an in-house function?
Yeah, Chair, we were querying the justification of outsourcing, whereas they have an internal mechanism to handle that.
Correct. But do you have visibility on the 66 who the recipients or beneficiaries were? Is it one advocate? Is it two? Are they five? Because of course, fee notes will depend on the seriousness of the matter. So 66 could easily be one firm, or it could be two, could be 10, could be 20. How many are they? Auditor, now that you have cited it.
Chairman, a moment you are checking that.
Governor, can you help us? Is there an annexure of the beneficiaries of the 66 million for legal fees?
Yes, the list was there and it was provided to the internal audit. That is why they came there to external audit.
Where is the annexure on your file? Is it part of the annexure?
No, it's not part.
You see, when you say that these were the services which were outsourced by the county, it's just easy to say this was a matter, this was handled by this advocate, this was a fee note, just a listing, and that can help us. But now we can't make a decision when we don't know how many firms benefited from the 66 million.
Chair, we can provide that, and there are many firms, but we will provide the list.
How many are they?
38 million, 38 million, the 38 million out of the 66 are part of the pending bills lists, the previous bills that we found there.
But we are talking of expenditure incurred here.
Yeah.
66. So you paid. So that means you paid, you accepted that 38 million was
It's
valid.
part of the lists in the pending bill.
601 million. Why did you decide to pay the legal fees and disregard the rest?
But we've been saying that we've been paying 100 and something every year.
Governor,
Why did you cherry pick the legal fees?
We did not cherry pick the legal fees. We are paying 513 million, of which over 400 million is paid. Out of that 438.9 is legal fees.
No, Governor, it is still fresh in my mind, your aged listing. Over 5 years, you are about 501 million. Is this 38 million part of that?
Yes.
It's part of the 601 million, which you generally described as a scam. So I'm asking, why is it that the legal fees are now admissible and everything else for construction and supply of services, you are swearing that you are not paying? What is the logic?
I don't know how to say it. We have not said we are not paying. We are paying 513.
Order, Governor. Keep your cool. I know we have sat here for long, but remember you are still in the Senate. Yeah, even if it's going to 5, you are still in the Senate. We are not plucking questions from the air. You had an 8 debtors listing, and we spent 45 minutes with you saying that over 5 years is a black hole that you cannot get into. Now you are telling me out of that black hole, you have plucked 38 million. So why is it that the legal fees are now payable and the fees owed to people who supplied other items? And Governor, you'll have to respond whether it makes you uncomfortable or not. That is the duty that you undertook as a CEO of Kirinyaga.
I will respond, Chair, and I'm saying
Governor, just a minute.
513
Governor.
Million is being paid.
Order, Governor.
38 is part of it.
Order.
So,
Senator Sifuna.
So, Governor, to make it easy, you are saying 513 is being paid. So out of the amounts that have already been paid, you say the non-legal fees that we have paid so far is X amount. It's another way of answering the question to provide clarity. Secondly, Governor, your written response references the need to engage external attorneys who possess specialized expertise in particular fields. So the query is on why you are employing external counsel when you have capacity. So if you are saying it is for specialized expertise, we need to see the nature of those cases. And that is why we were requesting that list, which I think the chair has directed that you must provide. But back to the chair's question, maybe it will help if you say in the last financial year or this financial year, we have paid 100 million. Non-legal fees is 80 and the balance is legal 38, so that the chair doesn't get the impression that somehow legal fees are being treated specially because of earlier pronouncements. That way you would
And that's the impression I have. So,
Correct.
Governor?
I think you have said it. The chair was twisting my words. I said again, out of the 1 billion or so pending bills given by the Auditor General, and I've repeated this 100 times, 513 we did not dispute and have been paying every year an average of 100 million shillings.
Okay.
So for 4 years, we have paid in excess of 400 million shillings, isn't it? Out of that 438 is legal. So I did not cherry pick legal fees, and I actually don't make the decisions.
You see,
payment.
you are
But
not
please,
clear.
my problem is when you say it like that and the media picks it, they go and air
Governor,
that
you are
I
not
have
going to
cherry-picked
control what
a
the chair
bill.
says. You are not going to control what the chair says or what the committee says. I know we have sat for a long time, so sugar levels could be low, but we are still in the Senate. We sit up to 6:30. This query has not been addressed. And even if you foray us into misadventures and accusations, we are not going to get lost. And Governor, there is also something called body language, and you know, you can't come to the Senate and throw your hands in the air as if you're in your private chambers. So please, let us maintain decorum when you're in the Senate. I am not just Moses Kajwang. I am the chair representing the Speaker of the Senate in these proceedings. And I will insist on decorum. Otherwise, if we feel that these proceedings of the Senate are being treated with contempt, then I shall terminate them as per the standing orders. So let's proceed with decorum, and let's proceed with respect to the institution of the Senate. What we expected here is that 66 million has been paid to external attorneys. This Senate has got no visibility on who they are. This Senate has got no visibility on the nature of the cases. In that situation, there is nothing for us to clear.